Hello everyone and Happy New Year. It is that time where I get to make my list videos, and just like with the previous years, we're going to start with my favorite EPs out of 2024. I've got 15 different EPs over here, some small and short works that despite their length, they are still worth your attention. And without further ado, let's get into the list with my 15 favorite EPs out of 2024. So we're gonna start with a new EP of Machine Code called Neo Miami. The newest project of Dean Rodell, and Current Value keeps on with a pretty standard neurofunk formula that does not really have anything to blow your mind, but there are still some quite imaginative ideas out there. The first two tracks, Forget Your Game and Scanner, are the notable highlights, while the rest of the EP is a bit more experimental and more bold with its approaches, but not necessarily leading to the most exceptional results. Still, these two know really damn well how to make some proper neurofunk bangers. At number 14 is Brutalismus 3000 with their EP Goodbye Shallow. Prior to this, I only knew Brutalismus 3000 as a name, making the waves in a quite short period of time. Listening to this new EP, I really dig what I'm hearing, and I'm looking forward to more like this in the future. The German duo delivers some solid, hard-hitting techno bangers with distorted vocals that are reminiscent of the recent wave of electroclash, quite intriguing hard techno and house release that is simple, aggressive fun and gets the job done. At number 13 is BAS Bank by BAS Victim, and since we mentioned the emerging comeback of this new wave of electroclash, here is a really solid effort with the debut EP of BAS Victim, a really promising duo that follows the footsteps of Snow Strippers on this delivery of electropop and electroclash, alongside more aggressive and modern production techniques. The raunchy and hedonistic attitude with the vocals is one of the strongest points, even kinda reminds me of Creation at points. Very cool and uplifting release, with aesthetics being on point and working in the EP's favor. Number 12 is FFH with Frozen Music. No Rent is one of the labels to rely on when it comes to some of the latest harsh noise and power electronic releases that are worth your time. The newest EP of FFH is not an exception. Also known for making a few works with Prurient, FFH makes a raw and minimalistic power electronics project with intense vocals and lots of sampling. Nothing to go crazy about, but it's properly executed and gets the job done for what it is. At number 11 we have the new EP of Frontierer, The Skull Burned Wearing Hell Like a Life Vest as the Night Wept. The UK mathcore band returns with what is arguably some of the most intense and furious set of tracks they've ever put out. From the solid production to the brutal screams, this is an absolute relentless collection of 4 tracks that is some of the best material I've heard from the band. Considering I'm not a huge fan of their last 2 full-length albums, this feels like a strong comeback with a ton of potential for something even more exciting in the future. Getting into the top 10, we start with Richard Pinas and Winter Music. This 2-part ambient piece was originally meant to be the 3rd studio album back in 1979. The newly realized version stands out on its own as a very soothing ambient and drone track that takes influences from the dominating era of Free Pendino, and it's just a really gorgeous short release to have it play while you sit back and relax. Beautiful minimal sounds and a nice blissful atmosphere that makes this EP stand out. Number 9 we have a Greek release with Marina Sati and the EP Pop. Also being considered the Greek Rosalia by some, the blow up of Marina Sati, not just in the Greek but also the international scene, has been massive, with Zari being one of the most interesting and forward-thinking tracks Greece has sent in Eurovision for years. Pop became an EP I was curious about, and I was pleasantly surprised by how much I liked it at the end of the day. Blending traditional Greek folk music with neo-perero and other modern production styles, Pop is bold, unique, risky, and goes to some unexpected experimental directions, especially with the ambitious 10-minute track playlist. While it contains certain elements and vocal directions that I'm not a fan of, I can't deny its creativity, Even if you're not from Greece, I believe pop is a wild combination of genres that is worth experiencing. Number 8 is this brand new EP of Ozerom, I don't know how to pronounce this name, Softer Than Before. This year has been absolutely phenomenal for Ozerom releases. Following the great late 2023 album Your Soft Absence, the 2 new tracks by the Danish musician continue with the same concept using sine waves and wind instruments, creating a phenomenal dark atmosphere that fills empty spaces that seem infinite and out of reach. Dreamy and eerie in its own way, with minimal structures that are really well put together. 2 tracks that almost reach the 30-minute mark and flow in smoothly and showcase such amount of creativity and finesse with such minimal and simple sounds. Number 7, we have the new EP of Tommy Cash, High Fashion. I just can't help but be in love with so many stuff from this Estonian rapper. He remains one of the most refreshing and quirky names I can think of in hip hop in recent memory, and High Fashion is the closest thing that we got from the era of the album Yes, oozing with the wacky experimental elements that we got out of PC music era Tommy Cash, so to a certain extent this is a return to form to what put him on the spot as an intriguing figure in the first place. It's this high-octane set of 4 dance tracks with pop and rap and lots of other wacky elements that make this such an attention-grabbing release. It's all over the place but in a good way, and most importantly, it's really fun. Number 6 is the new EP of Current Value Love Ballads that only released a few days ago, and it does manage to get this high on the list. The legendary drum and bass producer makes his return in the label Souped Up after his banging album Pure that was a catchier approach in Eurofunk with elements of jump up as well. And everything that made this album stand out back then is also present in this collection of 6 tracks. Having undoubtedly the best material Current Value has done in 2024, Love Ballads has an awesome contrast of catchy and melodic introductions to downright unhinged and filthy drops. He delivers once again. And now getting into the top 5, we have at number 5 Wave Expansions by Slam. I was more familiar with Slam from back in the early 2000s, where the UK duo would go into more laid-back approaches of techno and house music. So seeing this more aggressive and intense side of them so many years down the line is a great surprise. Wave Expansions is a more straightforward industrial techno release, perfectly designed for underground party settings. And the good thing is that all of the 4 tracks are just banger after banger. Excellent minimal and repetitive techno release that is just non-stop dancing and head shakes all the way through. Leaving you no room to breathe, these 4 tracks become instant essentials to throw at any techno party. Number 4 is Boys Noise with the EP Lovely. Boys Noise were on a roll in 2024 with another really solid EP, completely different though compared to the collaboration with Rico Nasty. This one sees Boys Noise experiment with more straightforward approaches of hard-hitting techno, something that I wasn't expecting to be done in such an amazing degree. But just like with the previous pick, this is another astonishing set of non-stop, blood-popping bangers that are minimal and straight to the point, catchy tunes. The 2 remixes also bring a lot to the table instead of just feeling like throwaways. Another 4-track EP filled with energy all the way through, exactly what dance music needs and is all about. At number 3 we have SEL Gelb with their EP Trigger. The German duo delivers once again with 2 amazing industrial techno tracks. I'd say that I.O. and especially Open World Game are 2 of the best tracks they've put out in their entire career. Definitely the best EP they've put out on the label Nplex so far. The 2 remixes right after are just decent. The good thing about them is that they are completely different and unrecognizable compared to the originals instead of feeling like a copy. But the 2 main tracks have this incredible dark undertone. They are intense, repetitive, catchy, and solid examples of EBM and techno done by the greats. At number 2 is Hit, the collaborative EP between Tavlo and SG Lewis. What I would consider, without a doubt, the biggest surprise of the year for me is liking a Tavlo release as much as I did. I was never really into Tavlo's music, couldn't get into lots of the stuff I've heard from her, but this changes dramatically with a stunning throwback to 90s Euro house alongside SG Lewis making some really well produced tracks that sound absolutely gorgeous, filled with queer aesthetics, passion and pushing hedonistic and sensual attitudes to the max. Tavlo made some of the hottest dance tunes of the summer. I don't know if we would get more stuff like this from Tavlo in the future, but I'm really glad I ended up giving this a shot. I liked it way more than expected, with Hit becoming one of my most played songs of the year. Such an addictive release. And finally at number 1, my favorite EP of 2024 is Sami P by Deadmau5 and Test Pilot. I am absolutely astonished by how good this sounds. This is exactly what I'm looking forward to when listening to Deadmau5, and this is it, he delivered with this one. After many uninteresting releases in my opinion, his contribution over here with Test Pilot is a much needed return to form, leading to what I would consider one of the best releases of Deadmau5's career and some of the most astonishing songs he has created in a while. The track Quetzalcoatl is peak progressive house Deadmau5 returning to his roots, while the slightly darker undertone of Wet and Sever reinforces to a greater extent the formula that has led to some of the most standout progressive house releases to come out. Very solid production and sound choices, glad to see Deadmau5 return with a release that puts him on the spot as one of the greats in electronic dance music. And this is it for me with my 15 favorite EPs out of 2024. Let me know your favorites down in the comments. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video, subscribe for more content like this. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video. Goodbye.